The Toronto housing market just sent a pretty interesting signal. Yes, sales are down, prices are down, buying activity is down. But at the same time, the number of homes hitting the market just dropped by 18%. And that combination is something we haven't seen in a while. Is it possible that the Toronto market is finding its bottom? Only time will tell. But in this video, I'm going to break down the numbers from February 2026 now that we're sitting in March. If you're a buyer or a seller looking for context on your next move, you're going to want to pay attention. So let's dive into the numbers. It's no secret that the Toronto market has been slowing, but supply is tight still. So that's an interesting combination. Sales and prices are both down year over year, but new listings dropped even faster, quietly tightening the available inventory. There were 4,000 total sales last month. That's down just over 6% from the 2025, with an average price of 1.07 million, which is down 7%. That number actually ticked below a million last month, which Toronto hasn't seen for a long, long time. So that was a big headline. It got a lot of people talking, but we've seen that it's come up a little bit since January. The number of new listings, though, like I said, this is a big number, down 18%. So what does that mean? Are we going to see more come into spring? I believe so, as we naturally do. But it is interesting that sellers are deciding to hold off, whether or not they are waiting till spring or whether or not there are properties that were listed that are going to come back to market. They've been waiting till spring to relist. Remains to be seen. I'm sure we'll see some of that, though. Like I said, the average price down 7%, as prices have been correcting big time. But they haven't collapsed completely, right? So for buyers, obviously you got lots of room to negotiate. The lower prices help, but rates have come up since the craziness of the pandemic. So those numbers kind of balance each other out. Making affordability still high. Rates in the 5 to 6 range, monthly carrying costs, and that's the most important thing, right? You want to pay attention to those monthly carrying costs and make sure, especially in an economy, uncertainty surrounding us with all the things that are happening in the world, you want those monthly costs to be the thing that you pay attention to and that you can stick to. Patience has its rewards in this market. You don't need to rush into anything, and buyers are making that clear that that's what they're doing, right? As buyer activity is still slow, total sales down 6% year over year. A lot of buyers I know are watching from the sidelines and waiting for clear signals on certainty in the world, which who knows if that'll ever actually come, right? You got to do what's right for you when you're ready to make a move. That's what should be most important. We can't, worry too much about what's going on in the outside world. Interest rates, they're steady. They're not going to drop drastically. They're not going to increase drastically as far as we can see. So waiting on interest rates isn't something that you necessarily need to do. Again, if it's the time is right for you, then let's chat. But fewer homes are coming to market right now. So the competition for the available homes may pick up. Listen, I'm not saying prices are going to increase and that the market's going to light on fire again. I'm sure that's not going to happen. But with lower listings coming to market, there's going to be competition for those who are in the market, right? New listings down 18%. Sellers are holding back. We'll see. Either they're decided it's just not the time for them or they'll come back in spring. Active listings are down 2.5%. Despite the lower sales, the overall pool is shrinking, and the tighter supply could potentially put a floor under prices. I know people are going to come for me in the comments saying that it's going to drop another 50%. We'll see. Average days on market is up 33%. So, we're in a much, much different market than we've seen, for many, many years. So properties are definitely sitting longer before an accepted offer is on the table. And the ones that are priced correctly are the ones selling. If you are overpriced in this market, forget about it. You are going to sit there. It's an absolute guarantee. And of course, not all property types perform the same. Condo market has been cooling faster than any other homes, and I'm sure you've heard that. Detached homes obviously are doing still well. They are down 8% year over year, though. Semi-detached down almost 6%. Townhomes are down 7%, and condo price change down almost 9% year over year. Condos are the hardest hit, driven, by reduced investor activity and rising carrying costs for rental units. Interest rates, obviously still a factor, but like I mentioned, it's not something you need to be relying on worrying about waiting for the perfect interest rate. You don't time the market, you don't time interest rates, you buy when you're ready. Bank of Canada policy rate is 4.5% stable, but historically elevated compared to the pandemic lows. I know we're never going to see that again, so just forget about it. You can get a typical 5 to 6% range, sometimes a little bit lower, really depending on your profile. And there's fixed and there's variable rates, so you have to talk to a mortgage broker. It should be one of your first steps. Figure out what makes the most sense for you. As buyers may still be waiting, but how long are you going to wait? And there may be some pent up demand when people do feel like it's time to come back in, right? And whether or not that's going to be this spring, or maybe it might not be until next spring, 2027 even. But at that time, people tend to follow the crowd. So once people start coming in, others will probably join. And you get a bit of that domino effect where we might see more activity. Again, I don't think we're going to see prices skyrocket. Don't quote me as anything like that. But I think that activity will start to pick up probably slowly throughout the year.